Hello, everyone. This is a psychic reading on Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That's RFK, similar to JFK, the president who was assassinated for, I believe, speaking out about things that the government was doing that he wanted to get rid of. He was quoted. In fact, Robert F. Kennedy is JFK's nephew and has quoted his uncle, being JFK, as once saying that he wants to take the CIA and shred them up into a million bits and throw them into the wind. And he believes that that's why he was assassinated. I think there may be a lot of truth to that. So, anyways, recently I've noticed in the news that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is running for president as a Democrat, which is very interesting. So I decided I would do a reading on him and see what comes up. So I'm going to refer to my notes here and go ahead and read off what came to me in the reading. So first I was seeing his mind being connected to intelligence. I was seeing a phone, but it was like waves, like kind of like, I guess that would be like waves of communication, of whatever that may be, similar to internet waves. And there's a lot of intelligence. In other words, people in the FBI, maybe the CIA, but I specifically got the FBI, that has lots of info that they are sharing with him. News that is behind the scenes. I get that he is informed about information coming from the FBI as well as potentially other sources, but this does not mean that he works for the FBI. It just means that he has insider information being shared with him. He seems to have recently been alerted to something big changing in the future, and he wants to do something about it. And the way that I was seeing this, it was like he was standing in a black void and there was this big flash of light, and it was as if he was being shown like all these images of the things that people are trying to make happen in the future. And this is just like representing an epiphany, or representing a big picture realization that he had that changed him and made him want to run for president. He's not part of the group and stands alone. So he's not part of this plan to push the future in a certain direction, which I will explain in a minute here. He's not part of this plan for the future and sees it going in a bad direction. I see pipes being dug up and rerouted, representing the economy of the U.S. and the world. And this is, we kind of see this playing out right now in the news with just, I guess you could call it a potential Cold War, if you want to go that far and use those words. But it's, people battling each other through economic means. He is seeing the corporate powers taking control while the people suffer. This is a process of taking from the poor and giving to the rich that he does not like. I sense a global corporation that takes over all the other corporations and rules the planet through the few wealthy people in charge. And you could say, oh, well, that's already happening. We've already seen that. But no, I'm seeing this on a massive level where this goes beyond governments, where this is a corporation that basically has power over all the governments and basically is like the king of the world, just ruling the world. So this is why he's running for president. He sees how he has a legacy and may have a chance to take Biden's spot, or at least speak to the people and prove his point. There does seem to be people within intelligence working behind him to support him. But these are people who want to help rather than those who want to take advantage of others. This seems revolutionary in nature. Him and his wife seem to be going through this together. And I got the sense of something about his wife in this, and I did look her up. So it wasn't entirely a blind reading. I just wanted to get information about it. But I am putting that out there that it was not a fully blind reading, because I did know who he was, and I did look up information about his wife after I saw him standing next to his wife, and I was like, oh, his wife seems important here. Anyways, there's a sense of unity as if they're both working together for this cause. That being what he is wanting to change about the world. She fully supports him, and I don't see him doing this on his own. In other words, I don't see him taking this step on his own and her backing him up, giving him, the ability to stand firmly on the ground is what allowed this to happen. And I don't see him being able to move forward without her, is basically what I'm saying. He seems very happy in his marriage. He seems to avoid the spotlight and let his heritage speak for itself. He seems like a man of few words. He does not like the spotlight or the news and the lifestyle associated with it. He particularly doesn't like the people involved in this lifestyle. He does seem introverted. There's a part of him that is reluctant to even go forth on this path. And it's as if he is covering his eyes and trying to block out the situation while stepping forward into it. He is focused on the prize, though. So the chit-chat, the communication, the conversations he doesn't care for are not relevant to him, and he simply slips out the back door to escape while he's focusing on something he would consider more important, such as his bigger picture or his master plan of where he's trying to go. When I ask what he wants, I hear fairness and equality. Those are the words that came to me. I do sense that he is a very humble person. I don't see him having all that much confidence in winning himself, but I sense that he can make a big difference and shift people's stances and perspectives. He seems to be an important player here in the world stage. There's a lot of power behind him, with connections from people in high places working behind the scenes and that are able to pull strings and give sound advice to him. I see a letter from the Democratic Party saying that they do not accept him, but he does his own thing anyways, and continues moving forward. His power is in his modesty, because he doesn't lose balance with both feet planted firmly on the ground and is not reaching too far to put himself off balance. Whether or not he wins the election, he seems to turn heads and play a role in our timeline for the future. I do get a sense of surprise, as if he won the lottery coming up for him, and he seems to shift out of this lethargic energy into more of a professional, enthusiastic optimism. I see him being on many talk shows and really getting his name out there. This seems very positive for his spirit and health. There may be some setbacks later on, though, as if he is being pushed out of something. I also saw him, it was almost like he was putting his finger on something to get a fingerprint, but it was like pricking him and stinging him instead. So it didn't seem like a very good picture, vision, or omen whatever you want to call it. His wild card ways seem to get the best of him. He's a little outspoken, and he says some things that are very controversial. I do see someone similar to him, but more compliant with the mainstream taking the wheel. I get a sense of calmness from this, as if things become less divided. Nothing is set in stone, so keep that in mind. The future is not set in stone, but this seems like the most likely outcome from where the energy is set at the moment. Sometimes speaking of the future can change it, so don't let this affect your vote. And I just want to mention also that when I have tuned into the 2024 election before, this was a year ago actually, and I posted the video that was recorded with someone who's passed away now, but the video is on my Patreon page. But just to summarize, I mean, the video was about Russia, Ukraine, and many things, but at one point I mentioned the election. And to summarize that little part, what I was getting was that it seems that there is an element of the election turning out unexpected and people being a little bit confused, and there being a little bit less of this division. And all of this really matches Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which is why I got really interested when I saw that he was running for president, because he really kind of embodies, he's a little unexpected. It's a little confusing because some of the things he says is, it's not fully what the Democratic Party says or the Republican Party says. He kind of takes bits and pieces from both and kind of is his own person. And so that would also make sense with things being less divided. Unexpected confusion, less division. Also, I got the sense that this may be someone who is a little bit democratic, but also more so in the middle ground, which also matches him. And this is going to be somewhat revolutionary. And I've been saying for a while now that 2025 seems like the year where things really start to shift. There's a lot of change, especially with the, not just the financial sector, but just the ways of life, the economy, just society, human culture at large. And so 2024 will be right before all of that happens. So this may be part of that shift, although I think it doesn't matter who wins the presidency. This is just where we are headed regardless. So anyways, if you like this video, you can always give it a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. If you'd like a private reading with me, you can book me. I will post the link to my website below this. You can also just go to psychictide.com. Also, I have a Patreon page, $5 to join if you would like more controversial information. And besides for that, I think that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.